Hello, YouTube. Welcome to another exciting episode of Cooking with Denoy. But this episode is special because I am going to do a challenge to each and every one of you out there watching this video. The challenge that I'm going to put out is this: for you to make a video of you cooking a $1 or less meal. Maybe we'll make it all the meals. Maybe breakfast. Let's do a theme. Let's go ahead and say breakfast. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is to make a video of you cooking a $1 or less breakfast meal. And because that's what I intend on doing right now, which is, of course, making my, I don't know if you guys can tell by the ingredients here, I am going to make a McNoy breakfast. Now, you might be looking at this and saying, hey, Denoy, that looks like a lot more than $1's worth of ingredients, and indeed you are correct, but the meal itself, when I finish, will be probably about 25 to 30 cents or less for one person. And how we're getting away with that is this: the badia was bought, ooh, we're gonna lose our egg here. The badia was bought for about $1 from Dollar Tree, and the ketchup was about $1, the bread was about $1, and the eggs was like, you can get it from Dollar Tree for $1. I got it from Walmart for like 87 cents or 80 cents. But we're not going to be cooking every bit of it all up at once, so it would be spread out over time. You know, like the bread was a whole loaf, and we're only going to take 4 slices of bread. So that's probably about like 5 or 7 cents from the bread. We're going to only use a little bit of the ketchup. We're going to use 2 eggs, which is about 7 cents each. And of course, only a little bit of badia. So that's how, we come up with a calculation of it costing about 25 cents. So you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to use multiple ingredients and stuff, but you got to kind of break it down roughly to what it would cost. And honestly, this brunch that I'll be making is very minimal as far as cost. We're talking what? 1, 2, 3, 4, about less than $4 or $5. You could probably eat for a whole week. For breakfast, that is. So this is something for $5. You could go like $1 a day for breakfast or less. So I think that's a very good value. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I do have the setup right now of the butane system in the van. I am going to be cooking from the front cockpit area of the little Blue 2. And some of you had commented about safety of having gas systems in a van, and indeed it is something to be concerned about. That was one of the reasons I steered away from using a gas system before, because there have been cases of canisters exploding inside a van. And what I've learned about these butane systems or butane canisters here is that they should not get above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. If they do, there's a risk of explosion. So if you're going to carry this kind of stuff in your van or your vehicle, you got to make sure that the temperature is not going to get above 120 degrees. I would recommend carrying it outside of the vehicle if possible, like securing it into a box or something outside where if something happened, it doesn't blow up inside your vehicle. But, I don't really have that option right now in my van, so it is being carried in here. But what I do is I usually keep my van ventilated. So even though it could get hot inside the van, usually my van doesn't get above 100 degrees, 110 degrees. So it's usually okay. And honestly, I just started carrying the butane system, the butane canisters, and I don't really carry more than 1 or 2 for one of that reasons. I don't want a whole group of them, like 10 of them blowing up on me. But that is a concern. If you do have a butane system, make sure that your vehicle is not going to get above 120 degrees where you're holding the canisters, because it can explode. The other thing that I learned when researching this topic is that the pan itself that you use, although my pan is fairly large, you really shouldn't use like big pans like this probably, because what happens is the heat comes up and it gets blown out over the canister, and that could end up heating this up enough to explode. So far that hasn't happened, and I'm going to go ahead and finish using it, but maybe keep it more like this to the side rather than more like that, where the surface area will go over the canister and make it really hot. So that is some precautions to take. I'm going to go ahead and kind of keep it like that, and I think it'll be okay. I haven't had any issues so far, so everything still seems to be fine, but things to definitely keep in mind. So we're going to go ahead and start up the system right now, and all I'm going to do is actually, because I have a nice, I'm going to put my eggs over here so they don't fall and break. Because I have a nice large surface here to cook with, I am going to toast my bread. So I'm going to go ahead and get the bread and put it on there. And we're going to turn the system on and let it heat up. As you can see, I simply just laid the bread on there. I'm going to turn on the gas and flip it on. And it is now on. And you can see the flame underneath. It is burning. So we are heating up the pan, and the pan will heat up the bread. And we're going to brown each side of the bread to make our toast. Should take only a few minutes because the heat is very hot. So once we get the toast made, we're going to go ahead and fry up the eggs. As you can see, the bread is toasted. Not evenly toasted, but I suppose if I only put one on there and didn't have it on the curved side, it would toast a lot better. It's only been on there like about a minute or so, so we'll go ahead and toast the other side, and then we'll go ahead and cook the eggs. I did realize that I forgot to mention you also kind of need oil for this. So the oil was like another $1 because I bought this oil from Dollar Tree. So we got $1, $2, $3, $4, and the eggs $5. $5 worth of ingredients that should last a week or more. Okay, it looks like the eggs, the bread is about done. So I'm going to go ahead and take the bread and put it up here onto my little plate there. And I'll actually dump this out a little bit. Dump out the crumbs and then go ahead and start cooking the eggs up. I took the pan and just basically used a paper towel and just wiped it, opened the door and wiped it outside to get rid of the crumbs. Now we're going to go ahead and add the oil, but I'm not going to put in too much, just a little bit. Because this stuff will splatter everywhere. The oil is just to help the egg not stick. Try to keep the egg from sticking, even though it is a non-stick pan. Go ahead and add the oil. I'm going to spread it out and we'll pop open the eggs and get that cooking. I am spreading the oil out, coating the pan with the oil, and then we'll go ahead and add the eggs. Sorry about that noise. I've cracked open the eggs and it looks like we got jets attacking us. I don't think it's jets. I don't know if they're doing an air show or just practicing maneuvers or whatever, but jets are like flying right over me out here as I try to make my McNoy breakfast. Anyhow, I popped open the eggs and I am going to let it heat up. My trash right here, which is kind of dangerous having it so close, but I'll move that away now that we don't need the plastic right there, right next to the flame. We are going to go ahead and let the egg cook up. Put the egg right over the flame down there. You can see that. And we'll let the egg kind of heat up and cook up, and then flip it over, and then we will, well actually while the egg is cooking, I am going to go ahead and season it. So to season it, let's see what's going on. I think my flames are running out. Might be running low on fuel. That's the thing about using these butane systems, the fuel doesn't last very long. It's like enough for 3, 4, 5 meals. And then I gotta get another one. So I will use it till it totally runs out. I may have to switch to another canister midway through. I think I've got another canister. If I don't, I'm in trouble. Not really. I guess I could get the inverter cooking system going to finish it off, but yeah, hopefully we've got enough. I'm going to go ahead and add the Butane seasoning complete seasoning rather, and just pour that right over the eggs while it's still cooking up. So that's what we're going to do. Gives it that oomph. So you're not just tasting nothing but eggs. And it looks like the flames have burnt out. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find another fuel canister, because it looks like it completely ran out in the middle of cooking. Luckily, I had a spare canister here. I had like 2 of them with me, so I've got an extra one. But that is one of the biggest drawbacks to cooking with something like this, is that these things don't last very long. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the canister, and we'll resume our cooking. All right, I've replaced the canister, so let's resume our cooking. And that is actually something that needs to be calculated into the cost. So without the cost of the heating, the butane system, this is probably a 25 to 30 cent breakfast. With the cost of the heating, I'm going to say it's more like about probably about a 50 to 75 cent breakfast, because the butane does cost money. Each of those canisters was like $3. So probably 50 cents. Yeah, it's about a 75 cent meal when you calculate in the cost of the butane system to provide the heat. You can see it's burning a lot hotter now because there is enough fuel coming out. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to flip the eggs and let it kind of brown on the other side too. That's the plan, at least. Go ahead and turn the heat down a little bit. And slice down the center. Kind of flip it over. That's the hardest part. Made a mess here. Alright. I'm going to flip that over here. There we go. Let the meal kind of cook up. I do like it kind of brownish a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and let that kind of heat up, and should be done in probably about 30 seconds here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and shut the system off. Kind of let it just finish cooking up. Get my bread here ready for making the Denoy sandwiches. Yeah. So we got our bread all ready to go, and it's just a matter of scooping up the eggs right here. Finish up our sandwich, and then, all right, I wanted it cooked but not overly cooked. So we're gonna go ahead and get an egg here. Put it right on here, onto our bread. And that looks so good already. Nothing beats having a nice hot breakfast. Yeah. Let me go ahead and get the second one here. For those of you who don't know what this is actually the spatula thingy from the rice cooker. They give it to you when you get the rice cooker. It comes as part of the system for the rice cooking. Get this little last piece of egg here. And there we have our eggs all set onto the bread. Now it's just a matter of adding some ketchup, and the Denoy is done. Yeah. And there we have it. 2 Denoy sandwiches for about 60 or 70 cents, including the cost of the fuel. Not a bad breakfast, huh? This is one of the benefits of having the ability to cook in your vehicle. You can always make yourself a decent meal and save yourself some money. Now, this may not be the best meal in the world, but it sure beats cold cereal or having nothing else to eat. So it's a lot cheaper than going to McDonald's and getting like a McMuffin or something. You know, you can save so much money by cooking in your vehicle. Now, the only thing you have to do is just be concerned of, you know, with the danger of explosion. So make sure your vehicle doesn't get above 120 degrees, and which it can when you have the windows sealed if you're in a heated, you know, hot area like Florida or the Midwest, or I mean not the Midwest, the Southwest. So just keep your vehicle ventilated, like the windows cracked open, so that it doesn't get above 120 degrees, and you should be fine. I would store the canisters in like a bin or something, you know, and then put it away from where the sun shines, like maybe in the back or underneath stuff where it's far away from the sun, to kind of keep it cool, but also have your vehicle vented and circulating air. That should help it. And that's pretty much it, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and have a bite. It certainly looks really good because I am really hungry. So let's do our taste test. This is so good and such a familiar taste for me. Until next time, everyone, I hope you're all eating well and staying safe. If you happen to be watching this where it's cold, I hope you're staying warm. Know that I'm thinking of each and every one of you, praying for all of you. Take care now. God bless you all.